Get this cat out of my seat. Gizmo, buddy.
Hi, do you want to say hi to John?
Oh, hey DK. Hey DK. Oh, what eyes. The light catches his eyes so nicely. Turn my camera
Oh,
on.
the only cat I've ever had that has orange eyes. Yeah, I'm going to turn mine off
Okay.
because it soaks up so much. Oh,
Yeah,
looks like James is joining.
there's James.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud.
How's it going, y'all?
Not
Good,
bad.
good. Real
Nothing,
good.
nothing exciting.
Good, good.
Try one of your toothpicks, James?
Not yet.
Oh, they're really good.
Yeah.
I just got a mocha one out of the bag. It's the first mocha I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting here going, chocolate coffee flavored toothpick with nicotine. Just doesn't sound that good.
Should be like all the things I like combined.
Given the season, I'm surprised there wasn't one in there that was pumpkin spice.
Oh no.
I
You
looked
have
for
to brand that
steak.
bag.
I looked for sirloin flavor. They didn't have that one.
Yeah, that's where you messed up. Give me that ribeye flavor. I've been slacking on my steak diet lately.
Oh no. James okay?
I'm not doing good. Man,
Just one steak a day?
that's what it has been, but I fell off of it for a bit. I don't even know what I've been eating. I guess berries. Yeah.
Just berries?
Some pasta. Yeah.
Linguine with blackberries. Sounds delicious.
Oh, nah. I just make standard old red sauce meat pasta. Sometimes spirally noodles, sometimes tubular noodles, sometimes elbow noodles.
See, I don't like elbow noodles. I don't know why.
Yeah. They hold the juice.
Yeah,
Uh,
I prefer the rotini ones.
Rotini's my favorite for some reason too. I buy those big packs from Sam's, it's got like two of each for every kind. And then the spaghetti ones stay till the last to go.
I just wait till they're like, 10 for a buck and stock up at the, Kroger.
Yeah.
So, John, did you hear from anybody else? Is anybody else joining us?
No. I sent out I sent out some reminders about an hour ago. Go ahead and text a few people and let them know that we're meeting rooms open where we're about to begin.
Sorry. You sound like you're a lot more awake than you were this morning.
Yes, I finally got woken up. Uh, I got into bed. I went back to bed twice, and one time I was laying there for 15 minutes. I'd already had some coffee, but I laid back down in bed, and I was like, I gotta get up, gotta get up. Challenging morning. I don't know why.
Well, that's, we've talked about it before, keeping a routine is
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. And that's, I still wake up between 5 and 6 most mornings. It's unusual for me to sleep in much past 6. A little harder this time of year up here because it gets dark so early, and the sun does the sun doesn't even start to lighten here until like 7 a.m. right now, and it's going to get worse.
Will.
Hey, come this time next month, it will be dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and won't get light until almost 8 in the morning. We only get like 8 hours of sunshine during the winter. So what did we want to, do we want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, give me just one more moment and I'll get it started.
Okay.
James, do you remember Marty from AA meetings
Yeah,
here in Fayetteville? I invited
yeah.
him. And him a little reminder here.
Oh
Adam
yeah.
Marty. The cool dude.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't invited anybody from AA. I don't know, it's sort of like they say they don't promote anything, so I didn't want to bring it up, you know.
Yeah, I understand that AA. Yeah.
There was somebody that was having a rough go, and I gave them the ID, their old ID. Um, they didn't show up last week, but it gave them an option of something to do.
Yeah, it might help somebody. Nothing wrong with letting them know if it's not a situation where it seems like it's wrongfully promoting something at a different type of event like an AA meeting.
Yeah,
I know, I've, I know that I've had a few people drop in just to watch the live stream. They're not dialing into the Zoom. So,
And that's
oh yeah,
okay. If they like the live stream, I'm good with that too. If they don't want to come, they don't like us at all, I'm good with that too. Everybody can do what they want. Okay, let me get started. Today's meeting is on avoiding complacency or staying vigilant against addiction. Our primary goal is total control over our behavior, long term recovery, and to gain that total control, we have to remain vigilant on a daily basis for any incoming threat to our sobriety. Um, I've got a note down here that it'd be good to cultivate an attitude of having won over your behavior, but at the same time, remaining on your path of sobriety in your life. This one's important to me, this meeting topic, because my lack of vigilance and lack of applying the techniques that I know work through experience, if I don't apply my desire for sobriety, I can fail. I have. And it sucks to have the smarts in your brain, but then not act on them and suffer for it. That's what we want to
yeah,
encourage people to.
yeah. Vigilance. That's an important aspect of maintaining your sobriety. Um, especially as far as complacency goes. That's one of the first aspects that sneak its way into your life whenever you are being complacent. You stop putting up those barriers that naturally protect you. You stop being as aware of the risk that uh that you face as an addict. I'm battling a fair bit of complacency right now, not so much with addiction, uh just with my life. Like, my place is a mess right now. I'm not doing a lot of the things that make me be a happier person in general, a more robust and defensible uh, person character against addiction. I'm sleeping weird hours, staying up late. Uh, I'm not eating the normal meals that make me feel good. I'm not doing some basic stuff like cleaning up my place. You can see over there behind me, I got 3 Amazon boxes, just sitting there, and they're too strong for me right now. I can't deal with them. I don't know why.
James, I
Uh,
sympathize. I've got a similar situation here. Got some clean clothes that my cat's sitting in on the chair, and I got a similar situation. I don't know if it's maybe the onset of the cold weather that's doing it for me, and some troubles that I'm having in my personal life with former love, but it's it can get tough, and I'm here to support you. I'll come over there and help you clean up your place today if you want. You don't want to do it.
Well, nothing else. If nothing else, James, you can go ahead and give him those Amazon boxes because
My cat,
Gizmo and Marin would love them.
my cats
yeah.
will love them.
My cat was playing with one of them for a while. I guess that's how the first one stuck around, and then it became a box pile. And I don't know why he's not all about him in castle form. You know, it seems like that would be even better. But yeah, as soon as I arrange him, he's no interest. Uh, yeah, the boxes are just the tip of the iceberg for me here. I think a lot of it starts in the kitchen. Uh, for me, it's like as soon as there's a mess in the kitchen, it becomes overwhelming. And then I don't tend to it, and then I don't tend to the bathroom, and then I don't tend to the bedroom, and then well, no, I'm getting bad if I don't tend to my car. Uh, that's whenever I go seek professional help.
Well, I'll tell you something, James. I just promoted, I just promoted Scott to be our drill sergeant. He's drill sergeant daddy because he's a little older.
All right, men, shape up.
Uh,
It's time for. I'm gonna be coming over and I'm gonna be doing an inspection.
no.
I better be able to bounce quarters off of those sheets.
We're taking away tobacco if we fail our inspection. So that motivate me.
Well, so James, you've said in past meetings that like keeping to your routine is like really, really important for you.
Yeah.
And complacency doesn't necessarily have to start with a relapse on addiction. It can start with all of those other healthy behaviors that you built around your recovery and letting them lapse. For okay, it's fine, I didn't go for my walk today, and then you do it again, and then you get used to putting things off, like putting off your laundry, putting off your dishes, putting off cooking a healthy meal. And it's just it's a slow slide back into not just necessarily addiction, but other unhealthy behaviors.
Yeah. I think like a direct result of me not actively taking care of my stuff is I do start to slip into that bit of depression, like not having a clean place has an effect on you, you know, you you just feel shittier, feel sad.
Mhm.
Well,
You don't feel good because you have a clean place, or like whenever you do have a clean place, you feel good about it.
It's
It's just one of those.
less pleasant to just exist in a messy environment. Like we look
Yeah,
around, it's like, don't want to look there, don't want to look there. Uh, I know you and I have a habit of playing computer and video games and keeping our focus on the TV screen. Uh,
yeah. And see, that's a weird one too, because I haven't played any games in like 5, 6 days.
really,
Yeah, and that's another aspect. It's like, hey, that's a part of my routine. I think even though it's typically something that people don't look as a good thing. It's like it's definitely a sign that I'm not feeling right if I'm not feeling up to playing some games, having some
Mhm.
good entertainment. Um, I thought about just making myself play here before the meeting, just kind of getting into something and uh, having a little bit of stimulation,
Mhm.
excitement, that sort of stuff. Um, I may do that after the meeting. I'm not sure. I definitely need to start cleaning. It's like say every day if we do these small things like making your bed's been one of those that people always say I'm never gonna make my bed, but I agree with what people say about it being a good thing is to where you you get yourself started doing something productive immediately in the morning, and then that tends to cascade into other aspects of your life. Like you don't just like clean the kitchen and then go into the bathroom and then like be like, all right, well, you're messy. We're fine. No, you kind of like automatically kind of start picking up the bathroom too, you know, and then if you do that, then automatically kind of start picking up something else. And it just kind of like it builds on smaller successes earlier in the day.
Within reason. I personally know that I struggle with getting too focused on cleaning. So, you know, I keep my place neat and tidy. But if I get down to, you know, if I get down to the point where, you know, I'm scrubbing the baseboards for the toothbrush, it's like, okay, you got to stop. That's not healthy.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, earlier when we first, you know, kind of got started, you know, we're talking some of the way you're feeling might be just because, you know, the weather's changing. We're getting into the holidays. You know, it's colder. There's less light outside, less
Yeah.
opportunity for you to be able to, you know, get out and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's warmer for you guys there than it is here, but you know, I woke up this morning, it was 30 degrees and I did not want to go for my morning walk because it's cold.
Yeah, I'd say the weather's definitely having an effect on me. I mean, it's something that I actively am in therapy for, aversion toward cold and water. And, you know, it's like I don't want to take my dog out for a ride uh, every day like I normally do whenever it's nice out. You know, it's been like 3 or 4 days. So it's just another thing in my life that I'm slacking on. And then it's kind of like becoming part of this pile that's becoming overwhelming, you know, and then you add in like the cat box and then, you know, so on. They're just like, I'm
Don't
not gonna
do
do
not
anything.
do not get complacent about the cat box. That is just gross.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, that's yeah, that's just one. That's next. That's the next thing that's coming on my slacking list. Um, you know, so hopefully I can begin to rebuild that fortress of protection against addiction, starting with small steps like picking up these boxes over here. That's going to be maybe the first small step, and then hopefully that cascades into picking up the rest of the trash, you know, from the kitchen or whatever, taking out the trash from the kitchen, so I can put new trash in a bag.
You might try 10 minutes of doing a couple of chores and prioritize like what's the most important thing I can do in 5 or 10 minutes, and then put a little carrot out in front of you for you to chase. It's like, okay, I can do 2 hours of video games if I can get 10 minutes of chores done. And something that helps me, even if it's a piece of tobacco as the reward, I'll try and do something for 5 or 10 minutes and just say, God, I gotta make an impact here. And
Yeah.
and
I'm
usually
just sitting here envisioning myself with a little bag of temptations, like, you know, teasing John, going, here, if you do this, you can have a treat. Come on, sit up, roll over.
has to be the right kind of treat. Uh,
Yeah, American Spirit would get you to do just about anything.
sure would, but I've been buying the cheap ones lately.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you, I spent $70 on those toothpicks, and I was like, well, hell yeah, I may as well get some fucking nicotine toothpicks, because otherwise the money's gonna go on cheap tobacco. So, I mean,
You know, I think another thing that's been affecting me lately is I was trying to help a friend who's probably currently still mid bender right now.
yeah,
Um, and you know, I was devoting a few days to that, and you know, sometimes it makes you feel a little bit helpless. You know, there's all different kinds of addicts out there, but I didn't know how to deal with this kind of addict, with their relationship with alcohol. Um, you know, somebody that is already drunk and like already slurring their words, and it's like, I need another drink. You know, like, no, you don't. You know, you can wait,
and
wait a
that
little while. You know,
and
What
I
you need
can
is some
imagine.
water.
yeah, you know, or some food.
I think you may have sent me a text message about that, and it sounded to me like you were going into the lion's den as an addict yourself, and trying to save a friend.
Yeah, no, I had to pull out of that, and perhaps I'm just kind of getting over
Impact.
that. Yeah, it's definitely something that I've been thinking about, and I have to resist the temptation to contact this person because it's probably gonna start it again. Like, hey, can you come over? I need some help. I'm like, oh, all right, I'll try again. You know, um, it's kind of weird. Like sometimes people have to take that little journey and crash, uh, and then bounce back from it. And then you catch them whenever they're bouncing back, but sometimes you can't do anything.
Well, the first step is always wanting to help yourself. And in the middle of a bender is not the time to decide that you need help. It's after the bender is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have contaminated thinking, the amount of uphill that you have to go through to, unless you just feel like shit and feel so medically or so physically bad that you can pour it down the drain or put it down the out in the trash. But when someone has they're drunk or they're high, and they're so convinced that they need this during in their intoxication and they must continue it. Um, Challenge is great, and I uh, seek new ways to help and assist people who are in an intoxicated state, and maybe they've got another line down on the table and they're about to do it and they're looking for help. It's going to be a challenge, but I applaud you for trying to help your drunken friend through a sticky situation. She reached out to you, so and you know
Yeah. And I think in a way, it's I distracted myself from taking care of my own self, putting my own self number one, um, as well as injecting a lot of potential risk into my own fortified castle. It's like I'd bring them right in. Supposed to keep everything kind of out there at bay, watching it come, watching the danger come from a distance, and doing that sort of yeah, like invited them right in, invited all of those difficulties that addicts face. There were moments there where I was like, well, I'd like to have a drink too, and then be hanging out with a buzz with this other person that has a buzz. It's like, no, can't do that. No, you can't do that. I mean, luckily I had my fort built up strong enough that I knew at least the bare minimum of my limits was that I can't have any drink at all. But just being exposed to it was risky enough. Yeah.
you face
Well, you
temptation and fear of failing at resisting temptation. Did all that for your friend, and that's a noble thing to do.
well, and putting yourself in that situation, you both have put a ton of thought into your sobriety and your recovery. Um, and being in that situation is probably going to bring up a whole lot of emotions and memories
Mm,
that are, are going to be tough for you to deal with.
yeah.
Um, it's not necessarily a bad thing to go through if you're prepared in advance. When it's a surprise phone call, you know,
Hmm.
sure, it's going to dig up a whole lot of dark thoughts and memories.
Yeah. I think it was a slight lapse in my vigilance toward protecting myself. Uh, and then you have to be careful whenever it is somebody that uh, personally. Uh, like say if it's somebody that wasn't my friend and I was trying to help them uh, get over it, I could be very impartial, I could be very, very stubborn or stern with the behavior I was accepting, you know, whereas being a friend, I was accepting uh, behavior that I wouldn't otherwise with somebody that I would be impartial with,
So in other words, you turned into Mama Bear, wanting to
something
help
like
and
that,
protect.
man. Yeah, I wasn't sure. You know, like I mean, we have this project, help with addiction. So I was thinking, all right, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna help.
Captain Save a
But
Friend.
yeah, but yeah, like you guys touched on, it's kind of like, hey, Amber.
Hey, Amber. We see you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, sweetie.
How are you guys?
Doing
It's
good.
We're doing much better now that you're here.
Oh, you make me feel so special.
so
There's her pretty face.
it was like somewhat becoming complacent just by allowing myself to do that. I should have thought ahead of time. I mean, there's much better methods to go around it. There's uh, bringing multiple people.
You can bring
Bring,
me
yeah,
anytime you need a
bringing
hand.
yeah, two people from AA,
Yeah.
way better than one.
Hey, and I'm always available through video call.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and see if it were somebody that I didn't know, it would have been real easy. I wouldn't have cared about offending their sensibilities or anything like that. Be like, hey, me and John are here. We're here to get you sober, dummy.
You know,
You know.
it says something really good about you that your first instinct was to help someone. So, John called it noble earlier. So if I'm now drill sergeant, I guess, you can be His Majesty.
Okay, you guys are going to have to fill me in on where you're at
Okay,
because
so
this is just an interesting conversation to have
what
hopped into.
what we've been discussing, if I can explain, James recently went to trying to help a friend who was in an intoxicated state and not quite too sensical. And James shared that he had somewhat faced a little bit of a challenge in his world after this event, and where meeting topic, avoiding complacency. We're talking about how James and I uh, could get back on the horse in fighting in strengthening our resistance to addiction. Um, yeah,
Okay,
summarize.
we're just going to call you our knights in shiny armor, riding to the rescue.
See, I keep trimming my head and my beard, thinking that that's going to be the catalyst for me to take care of a lot of other shit. 'Cause normally when I
So,
start looking like a homeless person, then that's I'm not doing good. No
so
offense
Amber,
to homeless people.
Amber, a lot of the complacency discussion so far has gone around making sure that you know, like James has shared, he's got 2 Amazon boxes back there behind him that he hasn't bothered to clean up, and I know John just had a sink full of dishes that he had to fiddle with, and
Refills every day.
yeah, it just letting those little things go, thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then suddenly you've lost the healthful habits that you have built.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can say definitely that when I was in the throes of drinking, that I honestly did not care about what my house looked like, whether I got stuff done or not. And it would make things like having people over way more complicated. And so, since being sober, I'm seeing that again, with my return of energy and everything, I'm able to keep my house tidy and like keep myself on track for chores that I do every day. And
Oh,
this is something because I get so scatterbrained sometimes and I forget, okay, what all I wanted to accomplish. I sit down every morning with just whatever piece of paper I can find. Right now, it has been sticky notes. This is actually one of my lists, but it has different things that I need to go and research and things that I need to do today. And I just go back to that all the time when I'm just go, what should I be doing? Because it's in those minutes where I'm trying to figure out what I should be doing, that I'm like, ooh, you know, a glass of wine would be really good right now.
Mhm.
So this has kind of been my own way of coping with things, is trying to keep
Yeah.
myself as busy as possible, which we have talked on that before.
Yes, keeps you distracted from thinking about feeding an addiction or doing something that's maybe not the healthiest.
Yeah, and on that note of distraction, it's like video games were a pretty damn good distraction for me. Something I
Agreed.
could always go to, you know. And then now it's like this past week, I sit there and I just scroll down YouTube until I get to the bottom. And then I hit the YouTube button again, it goes back to the top, and I scroll back down. It's like nothing looks good, nothing's distracting me, nothing's, you know, it's like I'm
Would it
just
be
there in that moment of suck.
would it be better if you get to the bottom of the page and it says you're done with the internet, go to bed?
Well, I try that one too. You know, I like my naps.
I video games can be very distracting. I think it can be a healthy hobby. That for a lot of people accidentally takes over a good portion of their lives.
Yeah,
I know when I'm
I'll
finding,
oscillate.
yeah, I
Mhm.
bounce back and forth too. I gave away an expensive computer because I felt I had an addiction trouble that I had completely tied to video games, and
Mm.
had to start breaking that part of my life down a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of gave yourself a clean slate, you know, you like got rid of everything, and then you've been building yourself back slowly, finding what pieces fit in your world safely, and the amount that they can be present, you know, without taking over.
The struggle's still there, and
Yeah.
Okay, then I gotta fess something up. I think that I'm addicted to the new Mario World game. Sorry, guys.
You know, hey,
Been eating at me.
sounds like a good time.
It's hella fun because it's done in the old, at least old school be my age
Uh,
style of playing. And so it's easy for me to play along with it. And it's up to 4 players. So I can play with my kids too.
That's great. See,
And
yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
we have a hell of a time with it. Mainly it's to see who can make the other person die the quickest.
oh, yeah.
Is it kind of like Mario
See,
Party?
Um, it's kind of like that, except they're actual worlds, like back in the SNES day, Super Mario World. It's very much patterned after that.
Okay.
well, I can hear the music in my from Nintendo in the back of my head right now.
What's Mario's favorite pair of pants?
What?
Denim, denim, denim.
Aw. But ching, got the dad joke of the day.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to addictions and avoiding complacency, is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious, Scott, what do you do?
Um, with my issue, I have to completely unplug. And that is very difficult when it comes to being addicted to work. So like one of the things that I've done is I now have 2 separate phones, and I'm okay with paying the extra cost every month because I can turn one of them off and
Mhm.
only use my personal one for those periods. Definitely the whole pandemic work from home thing has really caused me some problems because I cannot disconnect. So John and I a lot of times talk about, you know, him video gaming, and it's like I can sort of relate to that because there's something about staring at a screen that just, I don't know, it hypnotizes the human mind.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that because in one of the roles that I held with a top a Fortune 5 company, um, I had the flexibility of working from home or not. And I found that even when I would say that I was done at the office, I would still bring my laptop home, VPN in, and it didn't matter what time the calls came in. I was always available. I was always there. I was always working when I should have been sitting down and enjoying time with my family. That's
That,
it.
that's one of the reasons, like I purposely do not have, and I do own a TV, so please don't think I'm totally weird. But it's not actually like plugged in. It's sitting in a closet
You don't own a
because
TV.
I mean I own one. I just
No, that don't
it's not.
count.
No, that totally does count.
Um,
Hey,
I'm
listen,
just
Scott,
kidding.
you have my sympathies because I took my television out of my living room, and my dad thought that I was the biggest freak in the world for doing that. And he goes, "What are you hoping to accomplish by not having the television in the room?" And I said, "It's designed for people to sit in and talk, have conversation, not like stare at a screen or be
Uh,
distracted by that." And so, yeah, that whole concept that he just considered weird. So uh, I say, yes, you do have a TV. You just choose not to use it.
well, and I'm just as bad with my phone. That's like I have my phone is set to go on do not disturb at 10 p.m. and
Mhm.
not turn back on until 5:30 in the morning. And it's because if I hear a notification, I can't not look at it.
mm,
I'm the same
So
way. If there's some red on my screen, the little red icon change that indicates something needs to be checked there, if I don't check it, I can have an anxiety attack. I'm like,
yep, yep. And TV is just as bad for me. So are computers, but none of us can work these days without computers. So I try my best to. I hate to say this because it's a cliche for parents, but I try to limit my own screen time.
that's really good, Scott. I think that's really healthy. Uh, I seek to
No,
do
I
that
think that
too.
that's sorry, John, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just saying I seek to do that too, to limit my technology use in general. I have a technology passion and slash addiction.
I was going to say that one of the things that I had heard, and I've been practicing this myself, is when I wake up in the morning, before I check my phone, I check my surroundings because I need to let the physical world in first. So for me, that's waking up and having generally two cats by my face ready to eat, my dog at my foot asleep, and my husband beside me. And those things are things that help ground me and go, yeah, this is really what's important. After that, then I'll pick up my phone. And it has caused my social anxiety to go down a lot because I'm like, no, what matters is right here, right in front of me at this moment.
So, like one of the things that I have requested, I'm seeing somebody new, and they do tend to prefer text
Mm-hmm.
over voice conversation. And I've had to push back, going, I'm sorry, part of it's generational here, but um, I would prefer not to be glued to my phone and the keyboard on my phone. I would rather have my Bluetooth in and hear your voice and talk to you while I possibly do other things.
Texting is like
Yeah.
something you wait on. You wait on a response, and it might be 30 seconds or it might be 10 minutes. And so people have different expectations for how your involvement in their texting experience should go. And that can be a challenge where a live phone call, there's brief pauses in conversation, but for the most part, it's flowing. Uh, and that's a challenge I have as well with because I date Gen Y and not Generation X. They're all texters. My last girlfriend was a big texter, so I sympathize.
Yeah, I just have to, and then I get other notifications and I'm scrolling through other social media while waiting for the text to come back through. And, it's just, I need to, be
I
aware
have
of how much I'm staring at a screen and getting all that lovely blue light.
first off, change the settings on your phone. Every phone has this to be able to put a blue light filter on, because that is very damaging for your eyes. I will tell you that from working in telecommunications. Turn the filter on for blue light, please.
That's good information.
Yeah. There's also, if you have an Android phone or a Windows phone, there's an option on there to be able to set it to daytime, nighttime settings. So it will adjust the brightness of your screen.
And I already have mine set
around you.
I already have mine set for that.
Yeah. So those are a couple of little tricks that you can do to where, like, if you have to check your phone before bed, that blue light isn't something that's keeping you awake. It's more of an amber color to help get you to calm and not be so blinded by white light. Now, what I was going to say about the whole being addicted to technology thing, I don't think that it's necessarily a generational thing, because my husband and I are both Gen Xers, and he texts every bit as fast as my freaking kids do. Like, I get a paragraph from him in the time that it takes me to get a sentence to him. I'm just not one for texting. And so, whereas he expects to have a response within, like what you were saying, John, of if he doesn't hear from me in 10 minutes, then I've fallen off the face of the planet. When the reality is, I walk away from my phone, and then my kids will testify to the fact that I walk around the house all the time going, where the hell did I leave my phone at? Because it just is not a deal for me. So it depends upon the person. But what I can tell you from my standpoint is that it's hurtful for me to try and compete with my husband in screen time. And it's hard to feel important when someone has that screen up. They look at that if they weren't talking to you. I do have a rule in my house that when we sit down for dinner, because it's one thing that I'm super traditional in, one of the few things, is we all sit down and we have dinner together. And one of my rules is no cell phones. Isn't that right, son?
Correct.
Sorry, my son just walked in and handed me a bowl of fried rice.
Oh, what a nice kid.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Nice guy.
I actually have. But thank you. I enjoyed this all the same. Sorry, I like my kids.
That's
cool.
sweet.
Reasons to procreate. Kids bring you food when you want them to.
Yeah, only when they get a little bit older.
That's true. Not when they're a baby.
When they're younger, they get mad at you because you gave them the wrong color sippy cup.
Oh Lord, I'm so glad that those days are done. I'm sorry, I've been seeing all of these people with like babies in restaurants and like out shopping, and it's cringy to me right now. Like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I don't have kids that young. I'm so glad that I don't have to deal with any of that crap.
I knew what would happen to me if I acted up in the grocery store or a restaurant.
What would happen to you?
It would usually be painful and involve red stripes across my butt.
My parents are big on the belt too.
Yeah. That's old school teaching.
Got paddled by my elementary school teacher or principal.
I got one as well. Was it one of the ones that had the holes drilled in it so that it was like it hurt more?
Aerodynamic.
It was a croquet bat. Yeah, I was in kindergarten.
You shouldn't have been smoking cigarettes.
Oh, hey, I do want to point out that whether you're watching this or whether you're listening to it just kind of off and on, while I've given James and John a hard time about smoking while we've been doing this stuff, I've noticed that that's the first cigarette that James has lit up since I've been on here, and I've noticed that John has not. So thank you guys. That is helping me feel better about my not smoking.
We are trying to not promote any addiction.
I had one of them toothpicks in for a while, but
oh yeah, Amber, you missed this. John went out and bought nicotine toothpicks.
Oh, he told me that he was going to do that.
Yes, John had one earlier that was mocha flavored.
Oh, mocha
it's
flavored.
Actually good. Nice. It's really good.
To get me cocaine flavored. Just kidding.
That just reminds me. Do any of you guys remember when they were a kid that they had those cinnamon flavored toothpicks, like the really hot, spicy ones?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's got to be where that idea came from.
Oh yeah.
I loved those things as a kid. Didn't you have to like tear them off each other or something like that?
I can't remember. That's a long time ago.
I just looked. It has been a month and 2 weeks since I quit smoking.
Hooray!
Yay!
Awesome.
Great job.
Keep
well,
going.
and that's going back to some of our previous conversations. Keeping track of those small milestones is important.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just seeing that it's been that long for me, I'm like, that's a long freaking time. And yeah, I don't want to go backwards now.
So John and I were talking a few days ago, and I know in AA that they give you guys those tokens for reaching milestones. Because I've got some friends who celebrate whenever they get their 8-year or whatever it is. But I always wondered, we've brought up gambling addiction a couple of times. Those things look like poker chips.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I don't know if they thought that one out.
Yeah.
Want to go to the casino, baby?
It's a positive feeling though when you receive one. It's an uplift. I would never consider throwing it down as an item I would gamble. I have a few in my drawer. When I see them, they do bring a little bit of hope to my life, and this idea that I'll get the next tier up, the 3-month or the 6-month token. I can't remember which. I'll share with you guys. I've recently relapsed, and I'm put it behind. I think I put it behind me, and I want to recommit to fighting every addiction that could negatively impact my life, and that could keep me from being a better friend, a better husband one day, a better father. The more I study addiction and experience addiction and have this ever-changing perspective so far, I'm trying to prepare myself as a helper, and thinking about the future and possible future things that people could become addicted to, future technology. I'm realizing that someone could have an off balance with practically anything. Walking. James likes to drive fast. I like to smoke tons of tobacco sometimes, and when I relapse on methamphetamine, I like to be high and put my mind in a video game forever. Sometimes for 8 hours at a time. There's a lot of opportunity to rebalance yourself and anticipate future unbalance. Staying vigilant is so important, and I'm glad to kind of finally publicly share that, because it's something I've dealt with since October, and during that time purchased a few times and thrown away quite a bit. I told Scott, the next time you tell me, or next time I tell you that I've relapsed, you can say, oh, so you've got about a day or maybe 2 before you start to feel like shit. And you know, take 6 hours to wake up and things like that. Not sure if that derailed the conversation or brought it back to point, but I
Well,
am. Go ahead.
I would say with my conversations with you and your concerns about the variety of things that you are addicted to, that it's important to stay vigilant, that you could trade one addiction for another one.
And I do that. I bounce from, you know, if I just relapse on methamphetamine and put that behind me, I will smoke more cannabis or I will smoke more tobacco.
Or
And
you'll
I
play
seem
more
to,
video games.
or play video games. And I seem to have uh, these tilting levels of my activities that I um, quite often find myself experiencing an unbalanced state of being due to too much energy put into any one thing. Um, what I'm trying to focus on as a remedy for my addictions is find healthy or at least semi-healthy hobbies like cooking good food, journaling, going for a walk at a reasonable amount of time for a reasonable amount of time, and just focus on which activities I can do that are positive and avoid anything that I'm not saying negative, but anything that can lead to a lack of balance. It can be online shopping, it could be gambling. There's so much that we may face in the future, not only in talking to other people, but they could come out with the fanciest new casino in Vegas, and we try it one time, and we might get hooked to that. I don't know. I want to be ready. Virtual reality addiction is a big concern for me.
Well, one of the things, you know, I read a lot of science fiction, and there's some science fiction from the 1960s, and it was probably Isaac Asimov, where technology gets to a point where people can like actually just plug the cord into the, you know, behind their ear, and they get addicted to being in a virtual reality.
Yeah.
And you go back, if addictions have existed historically, you know, you'll find tons of references to it from centuries ago. It to a certain extent, I think, you know, the ability to become addicted to something is ingrained in our DNA. I haven't done any research about that, but it doesn't seem to be that it's a new problem. It's just new things are available. Oh,
Yeah.
we have a guest appearance.
No, those are both good points. It's like humans, we weren't quite ready for some things to show up. We didn't quite have the defenses against some things. Before, there used to not be quite as many things that you could find yourself drawn into and sucked into entirely like there are today, whether it be drugs or fitness or video games, movies, work. You know, it's
Synthetic
kind of
drugs, especially.
yeah.
Now, James, beer has been around for about 5,000 years, and you know the first people to actually brew some probably got hooked on the stuff.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. As soon as we found something that we could be addicted to, we do. We as humans have an issue dealing with that. So what John was saying about finding that balance between all things and resisting the addiction or temptation of addiction, identifying it for each activity in your life, and then identifying it as a good addiction or a bad addiction. And then also be careful with those good addictions that you're not overdoing that. It's like addiction's a hard task for humans to walk, to field.
Can I throw my 2 cents in here on this one? With any type of addiction, be it good or bad, I mean, you can make the pendulum swing either way. But this is where I would jump in and say, if you truly find that you cannot break a cycle of addiction, or you're replacing one addiction with a different one, try to seek out professional help. I know that we're trying to help people, but there are all kinds of therapist groups, um, things that you can join, even just one-on-one therapy, to say, okay, I've got this habit and I want to break it. How can I do this?
Yeah.
Well, and I would say you chose a very interesting word there, Amber, the word habit. There's a difference between a habit and an addiction.
Oh yeah.
And I think that whenever you cross that line is when you realize that, hey, I need support. And that support's going to look different for everybody.
Mhm.
But exercise can be a good habit, or you can take it to an extreme.
Right. On the note of professional help, luckily that's something I participate in each week, and it does keep me relatively grounded. But along the notes of professional help, my medication is another area where I've become somewhat complacent in over the last few days. It's like I'm still taking most of it, but I'm not taking it with the same routine and regularity that I am whenever I'm completely on the ball with my sobriety and the maintenance of my life. I used to eat, take my medicine, lunch comes around, eat, take my medicine, nap, dinner comes around, eat, take my medicine, go to sleep. Now it's kind of like I'm gonna take my medicine here in a little while just to make sure I don't forget, you know. But that goes along the lines of professional help. I mean, make sure that you're seeking that out, and then make sure that you're following through with what they prescribe you.
Right.
So this is I'm going to back that up with a non-addiction related. The kid that grew up across the street from me, his mother and my mother are still friends. They went to high school together, and he was prescribed a medication earlier this year, and he just randomly decided that he just wasn't going to take it. Got out of the habit of taking it, stopped taking it, and he's my age, so 47, 48 years old, and he's in the hospital because he just had a stroke because he wasn't taking his medication.
Oh wow.
Very
Yeah,
sorry
it's
to
kind of.
hear about him.
I take a medication for a variety of things, and some of them signal to me whenever I've been slacking on it, like my pain medication. I mean, last night I was walking around my kitchen like, wow, you're hurting, and then that reminded me, hey, get back on track with that stuff that was working for you, for your pain. But then the same thing applies to psychological. There's that's lending to me feeling down or powerless in my current situation. That's part of why my walls are and defenses are shrinking. So I'm gonna try to get back uh, on that routine. I mean, you mentioned the routine earlier, and I think that's one of the most important parts for me to maintain everything else in my life. It's that routine. If I'm letting it veer off, then it just completely loses train off the tracks situation.
Well, and especially when it comes to any psychological medication that may be helping you, there's a few week period before when you start taking it before it kicks in.
Yeah.
And then when you stop taking it, there's a several week period where your body adjusts back away from it. And neither one of those periods are fun. So keeping on your routine and taking it is going to help you avoid that. And don't necessarily be complacent about the dosage. Talk to your medical provider. Maybe it needs to be increased, maybe it needs to be decreased, maybe you need to change completely because it stopped working.
I'm in
And
agreement with you, Scott. I think the medical provider is the person who should determine how much you should take. And I'm actually reconsidering my previous statement that maybe only one pill is the appropriate amount. I say now if the doctor prescribes you two, for 3, then they're aware of the milligrams of the dosage that it's going to be most effective for you in managing what you experience if you don't take the medicine. I toned down some of my meds and haven't experienced much trouble, but had decided that I need to be talking to my psychiatrist before I play doctor myself and, start messing up.
Well, a lot of the times, and this is a personal belief, so correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the times, some of the addictions you might have might be you self-medicating.
Yes, I think we discussed that. It's some substance use especially, but even a heavy amount of sugar addiction could be related to a mental health disorder that you're trying to use a substance, sugar, to remedy and get that dopamine going in your brain, because depression is a feeling of deadness, a feeling of feeling dead inside, I think, for a lot of people. And that little spark of dopamine, wherever they can get it, everything from, playing the lottery to addictions I practice, like using cannabis in the morning. I'm not saying I do that for depression, but I think I do use most everything that I've ever used to remedy some type of problem that I think I have or maybe really experience. I agree with you, Scott.
I want to, as far as taking pills and things like that go, I started on antidepressants when I was 13 years old. And I have been played guinea pig on, I don't know how many different times, with different medications, different combinations of things. One time, I was given a medication that I was allergic to, unbeknownst to me, and I was taking it at the dose that the doctor had prescribed, and it caused my entire throat, my tongue, everything to swell up and have sores all over it, to where I couldn't drink or eat. But that's really the only negative thing that I've found from it. But I can say honestly, only within the past 2 years do I think that they finally have a combination that is correct for me, that it addresses my anxiety, it addresses my depression, it addresses my PTSD. And one of my medications for my PTSD is a blood thinner that they use off-brand to help people go to sleep who have bad dreams about things that have happened. And so whenever I can't sleep, my instant urge is, well, maybe if I took some more of that medication, then I could go to sleep. And that would be detrimental to me, because on brand, that is a blood pressure regulator. And so if I were to take too much of it, I could quite literally kill myself.
If I can ask a personal question, is that one called prazosin? I think I take prazosin for the same thing. And
Yep.
yeah, I had asked my doctor, I'm like, can I take 4 of these? Can I take 5? She's like, probably not.
No, because you get PM.
Well, Amber, it would definitely help you fall asleep. It would just be permanent.
Right. None of us want that.
We don't want that.
No, we would miss your face. That's, it's very, very important that if anybody's viewing this, if you end up going a medical route, that you do have a good trusting relationship with your doctor, that you share with your doctor what you're feeling, how you're feeling, when you're feeling it. And then, whatever they suggest, that you go ahead and follow the doctor's orders.
And be honest about them if it's not working for you. Give them a call after 3 weeks and say, hey, I have not seen any change in my behavior.
Or I have seen changes and I don't like the changes.
Right. A lot of times they'll want for you to come in, and then they'll let you know there are so many depression medications that you actually have to taper yourself down off of before you can start back on a new one. So yes, please, please, please listen to your doctors on that.
Good advice.
And I just killed the conversation.
No, not at
I'm
all.
just, honestly, I'm just sitting here going, that is the absolute best advice that we could give anybody who's watching. And it's good advice for us to continue to take ourselves.
Yeah, I think you know, for me, trying to get myself back to a state that I prefer, a state that I'm happy. You know, I need to pick up my pace a little bit. I need to take my meds after this. I need to take my dog for a run. I need to make a good lunch. You know,
You can
I
do
hear
these
steak in your
things.
future.
yeah, I got a steak ready for tonight.
There you go.
If you need some sticky notes to start a list of things you want to do today, I can bring some over.
That was
Put a
stressing me out, Jeff.
Put a sticky note on that forehead of yours.
That's just like text messages. I get too many of them, I get overwhelmed.
James has had me on mute for years.
Hey, but you know, John, you could actually cover James's head in sticky notes.
Protected
There's
from
enough
the
room.
sun.
It'll stay
fun.
there. It's super adhesive. Uh, uh,
You can just peel one off at a time going, okay, this is the next thing on my list.
I got some Photoshop work to do next hour.
I look like a Christmas tree.
Oh, you can just buy some of those duct tape sticky notes.
Okay, can we wave goodbye to YouTube and we can continue talking? We've had a good hour-long meeting contribution to the internet, and we hope that if you listen to the end of this video, we hope you got something out of it and got some encouragement. And we do want to help you. Our phone number, our email address is listed on the screen there below, and we want to express that we're here to help you, and that's our goal. We help each other, and we appreciate each other for doing so. We hope that you got something out of this meeting. So,
Yeah, take those small steps, be proactive. Good luck.
yeah.
We love y'all.
See you next week, YouTube. Bye.
Hi, guys.